Long ago in the land of Canaan lived a young man named Joseph. He was the son of Jacob and was loved deeply by his father. Jacob loved Joseph more than all his other sons and gave him a beautiful robe with many colors. This special gift showed how much Jacob cared for him, but it also caused jealousy among Joseph's brothers. Joseph also had dreams that made his brothers even more angry. In one dream, Joseph saw sheaves of grain in a field. His brothers' sheaves bowed down to his sheaf. In another dream, he saw the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowing down to him. When Joseph shared these dreams, his brothers thought he believed he would rule over them one day. Their jealousy turned into hatred. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers who were tending sheep far from home. When the brothers saw Joseph coming in the distance wearing his colorful robe, they began to plan against him. "Here comes the dreamer," they said. At first they wanted to kill him, but instead they threw him into an empty pit. Soon a caravan of traders traveling to Egypt passed by. The brothers decided to sell Joseph to them for silver. Joseph was taken far away to Egypt and sold as a slave to an Egyptian officer named Potiphar. Even though Joseph was now a slave in a foreign land, he remained faithful and hardworking. The Bible says that God was with Joseph, and everything he did began to succeed. Potiphar noticed Joseph's wisdom and trusted him with great responsibility. Soon Joseph was placed in charge of Potiphar's entire household. But trouble came again. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of wrongdoing. Because of this lie, Joseph was thrown into prison. Once again, Joseph lost his freedom, yet even in prison, God was still with him. The prison guard soon trusted Joseph and put him in charge of the other prisoners. One day, 2 of Pharaoh's servants were brought into the prison. They both had dreams that troubled them. Joseph told them that interpretations belong to God. With God's help, Joseph explained their dreams. Joseph told one man that he would soon return to serve Pharaoh again. The other man would not be so fortunate. Everything happened exactly as Joseph had said. Joseph asked the servant who would be restored to remember him and speak to Pharaoh about him, but the servant forgot. 2 years later, Pharaoh himself had troubling dreams that no one could explain. Suddenly, the servant remembered Joseph and told Pharaoh about the young man in prison who could interpret dreams. Joseph was quickly brought before Pharaoh. Standing before the ruler of Egypt, Joseph humbly said that the interpretation came from God. Joseph explained that Pharaoh's dreams meant that Egypt would have 7 years of great abundance, followed by 7 years of severe famine. Joseph advised Pharaoh to store food during the years of abundance so the people would survive the coming famine. Pharaoh was amazed by Joseph's wisdom. He saw that God was with Joseph. So Pharaoh made Joseph the second most powerful ruler in all of Egypt. Joseph organized the storage of grain during the years of abundance. When the famine arrived, Egypt had food while other lands suffered. Eventually, the famine reached Joseph's family in Canaan. His brothers traveled to Egypt to buy food, not realizing that the powerful ruler before them was the brother they had betrayed years earlier. When Joseph finally revealed himself to them, his brothers were afraid. They remembered the terrible thing they had done to him. But Joseph showed them mercy. He told them something powerful. "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Joseph forgave his brothers and welcomed his family to live safely in Egypt. Joseph's story teaches us a powerful lesson. Even when life seems unfair and difficult, God is still working behind the scenes. The young man who was betrayed, sold as a slave, and thrown into prison became a leader who saved many lives. From prison to power, Joseph's life shows us that God can turn suffering into purpose and darkness into blessing. And sometimes the dreams God gives us are greater than we ever imagined.